TV7 Israel News is made possible thanks to your generous donations. Shalom, good evening. This is TV7 Israel News broadcast to you from Jerusalem. And in today's top stories, the IDF Chief of General Staff affirms Israel is well prepared for an all-out war. The Islamic Republic of Iran warns that the window of opportunity to salvage the 2015 nuclear agreement is not unlimited in time. The United States condemns the Iranian-backed Houthis in response to a cross-border terror attack against a civilian airport in Saudi Arabia. Israel is well prepared for an all-out war on its northern front. Upon the conclusion of the IDF's military exercise along the border with Lebanon yesterday, dubbed Lightning Storm, Chief of General Staff Lieutenant General Aviv Kochavi held a strategic situation assessment, during which he voiced confidence in the readiness of the Northern Command for when the moment of truth arrives.
ואנחנו נמשיך לנהל אסטרטגיה לא דרך הטקטיקה, אלא דרך שיקולים אסטרטגיים. ואם נגיע למצב הזה של המתיחות, אז אנחנו נדע להפעיל את כל השיקולים שחלקם נפרסו פה על המסך, אבל אתם מוכנים למלחמה.
It is interesting to know that the current assessment forecasts that in the event of an all-out war, Israel will have to contend with a number of fronts. The most challenging threat remains the Lebanese Iranian proxy Hezbollah, which is expected to operate out of both Lebanon and Syria. The threats posed from Syria also include additional Iranian-backed militias, which are expected to assist Hezbollah. However, their capacity to challenge the Israeli military are significantly lower. In tandem, Iran's proxy in Gaza, the Palestinian Islamic Jihad, may also attempt to challenge Israel from the Hamas-controlled enclave. Nevertheless, the latter are expected to restrain their involvement for fear of significant Israeli reprisal that will threaten the Islamist Hamas's grip on power. Another threat taken into account in case of an all-out war relates to the Iranian-backed Houthi militia in Yemen, which had recently attained offensive capabilities capable of reaching southern Israel. Well, a senior military official who spoke to TV7 on condition of anonymity stopped short from elaborating on the scope of the IDF's so-called target bank. He stressed, quote, "If Iran drags Israel into war, the regime will have to contend with the full weight of Israel's military might. It will not be spared." The official noted, however, that such a scenario is highly unlikely at this stage, since the Iranians are not suicidal. With regard to Iran's nuclear ambitions, the official mentioned that the presiding assessment by the IDF's Military Intelligence Directorate, from the moment of a decision, it will take the Iranians up to 2 years to develop a nuclear weapon. It is important to mention that this assessment contradicts evaluations by other intelligence agencies in both Israel and other Western countries, which have mentioned the following: from the moment of breakout, a duration of 4 months up to 1 year. Meanwhile, the Ayatollah regime is evidently anxious to see U.S. sanctions, which have crippled Tehran's economy, lifted with no delay. The tremendous damage that the sanctions cause with every passing moment to the beleaguered Iranian economy has brought forth a three-core strategy that includes actions on the ground coupled with threats and unyielding diplomacy. In recent days, senior regime officials have ratcheted up nuclear-related threats, including a latest statement by Foreign Minister Mohammad Javad Zarif, who warned that the window of opportunity for the United States to return into compliance with the 2015 nuclear deal is not unlimited in time. Zarif further threatened that within 15 days, he would also act to adopt a decision by his country's parliament to restrict inspectors of the International Atomic Energy Agency from obtaining access to Iran's nuclear sites. Separately, Tehran's top leadership continues to emphasize its demand that the United States should be the first to resubmit itself to the 2015 nuclear agreement before the Islamic Republic would return into compliance, despite U.S. President Joe Biden's outright rejection of this demand.
اینکه چه کسی باید آغازگر باشد در این راه و قدم را پیش بگذارد، فکر میکنم جای تردیدی وجود نداره. ما از تعهد خارج نشدیم تا گام اول رو برداریم. اون کسی که، اون کشوری که از تعهد خارج شده به مدت حدود 3 سال و این همه ظلم بر ملت ما روا داشته، برخلاف مقررات بین المللی، برخلاف تعهدی که در قطعنامه 22-31 داشته، امروز موظفه، نه امروز، هر ساعتی که تأخیر بکنه پا روی قانون و توافق و مقررات بین المللی گذاشته.
Alongside its blatant threats and unwavering stance on the public stage, the Islamic Republic is evidently leaking details of its nuclear-related activities on the ground. Alongside a UN report on an Iranian intercontinental ballistic missile development project conducted in cooperation with North Korea, a new confidential report by the International Atomic Energy Agency unveiled that Iran had started producing natural uranium metal in breach of the JCPOA, the technical term for the 2015 nuclear agreement. It is important to explain that to use uranium metal for a nuclear weapons core, Iran would need approximately 0.5 kilogram of highly enriched uranium metal. And in contrast to enriched uranium metal has almost no civilian purposes. When asked about this latest revelation, U.S. State Department spokesperson Ned Price said the following.
This is, and everything we have said about Iran's behavior in recent weeks and months, it's the steps it has taken to further distance itself from the JCPOA. That undergirds our concern, and it undergirds the urgency with which we are approaching this challenge, and the urgency with which we are approaching our allies and our partners, and undergoing and undertaking those consultations with members of Congress to ensure that we have an approach to Iran that is harmonized and that's synchronized and that has the best chance of success. And again, the proposition that has been put on the table for some months now is quite clear. We continue to urge Tehran to resume full compliance with the JCPOA. We continue to do that because that, for us, would open up the pathway for diplomacy.
The State Department spokesperson also voiced Washington's outrage against the Iranian-backed Houthi militia in Yemen after it carried out an intentional terror attack on Saudi Arabia's civilian Abha International Airport. Houthi military spokesman Yahya Sarea confirmed his organization's responsibility for the attack, claiming it to be a response to Saudi airstrikes and other actions against Houthi targets in Yemen.
We condemn the Houthi attack today that damaged a civilian airliner at the Abha International Airport in Saudi Arabia. The attack coincides with U.S. Special Envoy Linder King's first trip to the region and his effort to bring a lasting peace to Yemen that will ease the suffering of the Yemeni people. The Houthis, meanwhile, continually demonstrate a desire to prolong the war by attacking Saudi Arabia, including endangering civilians. We remain committed to improving support for our partner Saudi Arabia to defend itself against threats to its territory. At the same time, the United States will continue its diplomatic outreach and engage with various stakeholders, including our regional partners, humanitarian aid organizations, and the UN Special Envoy, among others, to bring a negotiated settlement that will end the war. We believe this is the only way forward. There is no military solution to the war in Yemen. We again urge the Houthis to immediately stop these aggressive acts, halt their offensive in Marib, and demonstrate a true commitment to constructively engage in peace negotiations.
When asked whether the United States would reconsider removing the Houthi militia from its designated list of terror organizations, the State Department spokesperson emphasized that the removal had absolutely nothing to do with the reprehensible conduct of the Houthis.
The Secretary's intent to revoke this designation has absolutely nothing to do with the reprehensible conduct of the Houthis. This is a group about which we have no illusions. They are responsible for attacks against civilians, for the kidnapping of American citizens. As I said in the topper as well, we are committed to working with our partner Saudi Arabia to help Saudi Arabia defend its territory against such further attacks. What the Secretary's intent to delist was about, on the other hand, it was about the humanitarian consequences of the last-minute designation from the prior administration. We have heard from the UN, we have heard from humanitarian organizations the world over that this move would accelerate what is already, by most accounts, the world's worst humanitarian catastrophe.
Thank you for watching us. For more of TV7's productions and reports, including a variety of programs and editorials, I encourage you to visit our website at www.tv7israelnews.com. And as part of TV7 Israel's prayer initiative, I would like to encourage you today to join myself and the team here in Jerusalem to lift up Somalia in prayer for its salvation and peace, alongside prayers for our persecuted brothers and sisters around the world, in addition to our ongoing prayers, of course, for the peace of Jerusalem, the salvation of Israel, for all those who are impacted by the corona contagion and its numerous ramifications worldwide. Separately, I would also like to thank all of you who partner with TV7 Israel. Your dedicated monthly support, both by means of prayer and finance, is of vital importance for our ongoing operations. I'm Jonathan Hassan, wishing you an Erev Tov u'Mevorach, and we will see you again tomorrow at the same time.